Now, restaurants are closing because it's too expensive for them to operate because of food costs. The inflation crisis across America, people are beginning to move and change their spending habits. Now, beef has gone so expensive that steakhouses are closing. So, how are you going to protect yourself? There's some ideas we can run through in the video. So, let's take a look at it. So, there's a problem when the actual restaurants are telling you that the food they're buying is just so ridiculous expensive that they cannot pass that cost on to you in a restaurant setting because you just simply won't pay it. So they're closing. You've seen all these reports of fast food now costing $20 to go out per person, equivalent of what you could get in a restaurant. So where's that going to leave us? During COVID, everybody ran over to the fast food to survive because everything was closed. You had to wait in line. Now, from the top down and the bottom up, the only thing that's left in the middle. If the fast food's getting $20 a person, the top's too expensive to even sell, the restaurants are closed, then where does that leave? The sandwich of the economy, no pun intended. People are going to move as they always have in history. So where are they going to move to and why? Let's jump over to the United States, how our land is used and what is grown comparatively to what you might think it is. It's that big yellow right there, cow and pasture range. You think beef would be incredible cheap. We got livestock feed, which is corn mainly. Food we eat, that is different types of corn and wheat that's being grown. Feed exports, again, that's more on the like dent corn types of things and sorghums. Ethanol, biodiesels, and you can see what our timberlands look like as well. Nice overview of how the country's used, and just generally, if you're going to choose a spot where food's getting prohibitively expensive, where would you move to is the question. So the reason I ask, I saw this off the New York Post, and some of Texas' most famous barbecue joints forced to close due to sky-high beef prices. Had to dig into that further, so I went off to the article. And restaurant owners, again, when brisket costs $36 a pound for the consumer, when you got ribs and sausages and sides and desserts, you're easily at $70 to $100 for a barbecue. Okay, looking at the beautiful image there, love the food. That feeds two. You're with a family of four, double that. So how many times are you going to take your family out there to eat? And then looking at the ground beef prices, up 15% from a year ago. And pit masters say wholesale brisket prices now $5 to $6 a pound before smoking. Once you trim that off, 40% goes away. The restaurants are charging as much as $35, $40 a pound. People just aren't going to pay that. And of course, they got margins, and they got to sit at $40 to break even. So we have the first casualty of food costs. Restaurants need margin, and it's thin anyway. But when you go to these prices and you're looking at that, okay, your total demographic, how many of them can spend $200 to bring a family out for barbecue plus tip? Yeah, I mean, you took a wide margin and you shrunk it into just a sliver. And again, that'll be only a nice treat once in a while. It's not going to be a staple. So they choose to close. Meaning our food choices and choices to be able to go find food is shrinking. And the cattle chute, no pun intended, is going to funnel us in a certain direction. So know your local farmer is my best set of advice here. If you're around anywhere in a farming community, you can always find somebody who's raising cattle or hogs, sheep, chicken, whatever, and go out and talk to them directly at the farm. That's going to be one way to beat a lot of these prices here. And then you might find another 1, 2, 3, 4 people who want to split a whole cow, like 1,200 pound. Full beef, and there's 4 people. Okay, you'll take a quarter each. There's different ways to do this. You don't have to buy an entire, animal, but you can fill out the cut sheet, that sort of thing. That's one way to move around this.
Here's what your financial advisor won't tell you. By the time the news tells you to buy gold, it's too late. You're waiting. I get it. Everybody's waiting to see if the ceasefire holds, waiting to see if the Strait of Hormuz reopens, waiting to see what happens next. But gold isn't waiting for you. It moves on fear and instability into the unknown, and it moves faster than you can react. So while you're waiting for certainty, the rest of the world is planning for what comes next. You can wait or you can prepare. You can't do both. Remember, the best time to put on a seatbelt is before the accident, not after. If you're ready to act, reach out to Noble Gold Investments. They help Americans protect their savings with a physical gold and silver shipped to your door or held in a tax-advantaged IRA. No taxes, no penalties to roll over a 401k or existing IRA. Visit 2030gold.com and download your free wealth protection kit today. That's 2030gold.com. The rules are changing. Make sure you're ready. And the May Gold Bonus for a limited time offer a free 10th ounce gold coin for all new qualified accounts. Please note, coin selection is based on available inventory. Again, that's 2030gold.com. Click on that link in the description box below.
Because up in Kashmir, they're getting pounded by out-of-season strange hail. And this is getting into the whole livestock industry. They're talking about how heavy the hail is, how much damage is being done. But, we're looking at India, and, they are no stranger to cataclysms and disruptions in food production. I mean, look at this temple buried in sands here along a river, excavated, and then will it be reburied in the next set of food debacles when people disappear for 200-300 years and they don't live there because they need to go where the food's growing, and then this is covered back in sands again, is the question. But the main question is, how do people change their overall spending habits when these prices keep rising? Well, a good number one is cut back on spending. Well, what do you cut back on? You're going to have to do your own personal assessment on that. 25% of the people, though, said that I have not changed spending habits at all, and then 7.4% said they're spending more. So that 75% is the target demographic that is driving a lot of the change when restaurateurs are pulling the plug. And people are going to move also. It's just a thing in history. When a resource is not available or you're priced out or something happens, people move to different locations where they can have a better quality of life. It's been like that for 8,000 years. Nothing new. This is the norm, not the exception. So I don't have the 2026 data yet. This is just 2025. I'm looking at the dark blue and the black on the states there, saying those are most affordable, best quality of life, and most freedom to do with what you want on your land, obviously, to produce food. So we got Idaho, South Carolina, Georgia, Tennessee, up in Maine also, but Missouri. So you can see these are kind of like the hot spot. They're hot now because they're affordable, but when like a tidal wave of people rolls in, just like anything else, it makes it more expensive. So you can at least see right now where people have chosen the best safety spots in America by state. So there's your map. Choose wisely, because real wages start to shrink in developed countries. Now, this is a Strait of Hormuz. Obviously, AI is coming in, and they put inflation at 3.6, April 3.8. And then if we look at the adjusted dollar growth over the last 30 years, you're adding this in on top of all these other things. Inflation running hot, less jobs available, just things costing more in general, house prices up. And then you follow the red line down on your purchasing power. So at the same time inflation's going up, the amount you can purchase with is also decreasing from that same dollar. And when we're in the feedback loop, let's take a moment of Zen. Is this a wheat field? Could be. Use your imagination, because the top wheat exporters for 2024, 2025, again, we don't have the 2026 numbers out yet, but I am sure this is going to move a little bit. So the top exporters there: Russia, EU, Canada, Australia, and United States. The reason I say that is because Australia is in this crazy mega drought. West Australia is not getting planted. They're talking about 10 to maybe 13 million tons down out of Australian exports. So they might even fall off that top 5 list. United States, just dust bowl conditions happening out in the Midwest grow belt with our wheat. So we might fall off that top 5 position. Canada will get knocked down too, because anywhere they're growing wheat, they're experiencing the same drought conditions in North America. But here's the thing to look at: the importers on the side there. Egypt, Indonesia, China, Turkey, Algeria, the most vulnerable countries for disruption based on, well, they're either going to pay the prices or they're going to have to switch crops. And that's really another choice you have too. You can switch the things that you're used to eating. So if they're not unable to afford the wheat, or the wheat goes 2-3 times the pricing, are they going to switch over to something different like millet or amaranth or spelt or some of these more ancient grains? They're not really grown commercially, but I bet they will be if they can come in under a certain price point. Sorghum, again, America, we were at 100-year lows a couple of years ago. But can countries switch? I mean, rice, if it gets expensive, could Asian countries switch that staple rice dish out for something else? Maybe corn. I don't know, but there's going to be a lot of switching going on. And you and your lives as well, if you can think about the things that you are buying that you could substitute for something. I mean, maybe you could buy oatmeal and find some clean oatmeal. That's much cheaper than a lot of other things that could be purchased out there in terms of pastas or different types of wheat products. If you're looking at just base staples like flours and that sort of thing to bake your own breads, that's another way to go. If instead of spending $7, $8, $10 for an artesian loaf at a bakery somewhere, coffee shop, why don't you just learn how to bake the bread yourself at home? I mean, we're going to have to go back to these cost-saving measures here for many people. I'm not going to say everybody, but for many. How's that going to work? I mean, you got to look at your budget and then see how you can substitute that out. Now, we're on the slow grind here. By probably August, it's not going to be much of a choice anymore. Once the crop tours come in, things are just going to get a little bit crazy because they're going to go out in the fields and go, oh, that's really only 10% of what we expected it to come in at. Farmers are going to till that under, they'll take the crop insurance. So there's going to be way less wheat out on the market because the farmers are going to choose to take the insurance on it versus trying to take a scrappy half yield out to market and lose money on it. They're all going to take the insurance. Wouldn't you? Would you lose money? No, you wouldn't. You would take the insurance and make money for the year. So how many millions of acres will that take offline? And then how will that drive the price? In addition to the acres that didn't get planted yet, plus the drought stressed acres. This is just if you're looking at like the perfect scenario for things to go wrong, it's happening this year. And then we got Strait of Hormuz. And then another thing about the DTCC, that is the deposit trust clearing corporation that's out of New York City, that pretty much anything in Wall Street that moves money-wise goes through there. They're starting on tokenized assets in about 2 weeks from now. The first week in June is their soft launch using XRP and stellar lumens. Hard launch for everything on the planet going October of 2026. So between then and now, also, you're going to watch a lot of shakeups and different things, especially in the commodities. The food is about to get crazy. A lot of things in the whole economy are about to get, well, let's say fragile for the best term. There's a lot of opportunity in this if you can see where it's going. But again, there's nowhere to run from the system anymore. It is totally all-encompassing, and it got this way before anybody noticed. It's like when there was a tidal wave, I saw a couple of 2011 videos the last few days in Japanese tsunami. You could see it way out there because the wave was rather large. Some of these waves are coming in at like 20 meters or like 60 feet. You could see them. This is like we're turning around and it's just right here above us and we didn't see it coming. That's DTCC, full-on asset tokenization. And once it moves through the US market and they get it to scale, it is going everywhere on the planet all at once, and there will be nowhere to run. So you're going to have to protect yourself. You might want to start growing some of your own food. TrueLeafMarket.com, heirloom and organic seeds for any grow zone on the planet. You can do microgreens with that as well. Links in the description box. Every purchase you make helps keep this channel on air. I do appreciate you watching. Please share with your friends and family. You got to click that notification bell. Please subscribe if you got unsubscribed, and leave a comment, share, like, do all that good stuff to help the algorithm. I will see you next time. Bye for now.